There are cities that welcome you with open arms, and then there are cities that make you earn them. Moscow is the latter. It does not smile at you on arrival. It does not hand you a postcard version of itself. Instead, it stands before you, massive, unapologetic, ancient, and electric all at once, and it simply it waits to see if you are worthy of its secrets. Look around you. Feel the weight of the air. Something here carries the memory of centuries in every gust of wind that cuts through these wide, relentless bullets. Moscow is not just a city. It is a living argument between the past and the future, between gold-domed cathedrals and glass skyscrapers, between the silence of a snow-covered square at dawn and the roaring pulse of a metropolis that never truly sleeps. 11 million people call this place home, and today, for exactly 24 hours, so do you. This is your day. Not a tourist's itinerary, not a checklist. Your day, it begins right now, before the city fully wakes, before the metro swallows its first morning crowd, before the pigeons rise from Red Square's cobblestones in one great startled wave. Step forward. The city is waiting. Your alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning. Through the window, the sky is the color of a bruise, deep purple, bleeding into the faintest gray. In Moscow, the darkness does not live so much as it retreats, slowly, grudgingly, as if the night itself is reluctant to surrender its hold on these streets. Get up. Do not hesitate. Pull on your warmest layer. Moscow does not coddle you regardless of the season. Walk toward the Moskva River. You will feel the change in the air before you see the water, a faint dampness that softens the cold edge of the morning. Stand on one of the embankment bridges and look east. Watch the sky. The sun does not simply rise over Moscow. It ignites Italiano. The gold domes of the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour catch the first light before anything else, burning amber and copper against the lavender sky like something from a dream you cannot quite name. The river below runs dark and silver and slow, reflecting those burning domes in long trembling ribbons of light. Stay here. Do not reach for your phone yet. Let your eyes do what they were made to do. When you feel that particular fullness in the chest that only a true sunrise can produce, then it is time to move. Walk north through streets, beginning to whisper with the first sounds of the waking city. Somewhere a bakery has been open since 4 in the morning. You will know it by the smell before you see the sign. Warm bread and butter and something sweet. Push open the door. Feel the heat exhale onto your face. This is where you take your first coffee. Dark, strong, served in a small glass with a single sugar cube balanced on the rim. Hold it with both hands. This is how it should be done. By 8 o'clock, Moscow is fully awake. Be at the edge of Red Square before the tour groups arrive. Walk through the Resurrection Gate, the twin-arched entrance that Stalin once demolished and that Moscow rebuilt, brick by brick, after 1990, as if the city needed to physically undo what had been done to it. Pass through those arches and stop. What opens before you is not merely a square. It is a stage, and it has been a stage for nearly 600 years. St. Basil's Cathedral rises at the far end, like something a child might have painted. All swirling patterns and impossible colors. 9 domes twisted and spiraling, blazing with reds and greens and golds and blues, as if a fever dream decided to become architecture. Here is something nobody tells you. Walk toward it slowly. From a distance it appears chaotic, almost gaudy. But as you draw closer, the logic reveals itself. The symmetry beneath the wildness, the mathematical precision hidden inside what looks like pure fantasy. Ivan the Terrible commissioned it in 1555 to mark his victory over the Kazan Khanate. Legend says he blinded the architect afterward, so that nothing equally beautiful could ever be built again. Whether or not that is true, stand before those walls and ask yourself, could you blame him? Now turn and face the Kremlin. The red brick walls stretch for 2 kilometers, punctuated by towers with different names and different stories. Behind those walls is the seat of Russian power. 7 centuries of it. You can feel the weight from here, not oppressively, but in the way you feel something genuinely old, something that has survived things you cannot fully imagine. By now, your stomach is speaking with increasing authority. Find a traditional stolovaya, one of Moscow's cafeteria-style restaurants, where locals have eaten since Soviet times. Take a tray. Move along the counter. Here's what you need. A bowl of borscht, not a taste. A proper bowl. Deep red and steaming, with a dollop of smetana, melting slowly across the surface. Understand that borscht is not simply soup. It is history in liquid form, the tastes of centuries of Russian winters, of meals shared in small wooden houses while blizzards howled outside. The beat gives it that deep, earthy sweetness that seems to come from somewhere underground, somewhere slow and ancient. The smetana makes it silk. Eat slowly. Alongside it, order pelmeni, small dense dumplings filled with pork and beef, served with butter and black pepper. In Siberia, hunters once made enormous baches and left them to freeze outside, carrying them as provisions for long journeys. Each one you eat is the descendant of that tradition. Compact, filling, utterly, without pretension. Sit at a communal table. Listen to the conversations around you, even if you understand nothing. There is a music to spoken Russian, a rhythm of consonants that reveals itself when you stop trying to decode it and simply hear it as sound. This city has been pulling people toward it for 1,000 years. You can see it in the faces around you. If this kind of travel, not the photograph, not the checklist, but the feeling of a place, is what you come here for, then this is the moment I ask you to subscribe and leave a like. Because what we are doing together right now is exactly this. Being present, being real, letting the world land in us rather than just passing in front of our eyes. Hit that button. Let's keep going. After lunch, walk west toward the Arbat. This is one of Moscow's oldest streets, a pedestrian boulevard nearly a kilometer long that has been many things across its life. An aristocratic neighborhood, an artistic bohemian district, a symbol of the Soviet intelligence. Today it is a living palimpsest, where souvenir stalls and street musicians and historical apartment buildings coexist in beautiful, chaotic democracy. Walk slowly. Touch the wall of the building where Alexander Pushkin once lived. In Soviet times, it was here that the underground gathered, censored poetry recited in apartments above these very streets, band music playing behind closed doors while snow fell outside. You can still feel that energy if you are quiet enough to find it beneath the tourist noise. From the Arbat, make your way to the State Tretyakov Gallery, the original building in Lavrashinsky Lane, with its fairy tale facade of dark red brick. Inside is the single greatest collection of Russian art in existence. Room after room of icons going back to the 12th century, their gold backgrounds catching the gallery light with a warmth that feels almost biological. Ilya Repin's enormous canvases of Russian history. Isaac Leviton's landscapes that will make you understand in 3 seconds why Russians are so passionately attached to their countryside. Give yourself an hour. Find one painting that stops you, that roots your feet to the parquet floor, and stay with it. This is what museums are for. Not walking past things, but standing still and receiving. Step back into the afternoon. The light has changed. Golden, low-angled, slightly melancholy in the way of northern light everywhere. Make your way to Sparrow Hills, the high bluff above the Moskva River. The walk up through Gorky Park will take 40 minutes, and every one of those minutes will be worth it. At the top, Moscow spreads before you in its full, staggering scale. The river curves below in a wide arc, dark and deliberate. The glass towers of Moscow City shimmer in the middle distance. Closer in, the 7 Stalin skyscrapers, the 7 sisters, rise at their various points across the skyline, each one a monument to a particular idea of power and permanence. Stalin ordered them built in 1947, when the Soviet Union was still counting its war dead, 27 million of them. He wanted these towers to say something about survival so forceful that it could be seen from every corner of the city. You can agree or disagree with everything that impulse represented, but standing here, looking at those towers in the dying afternoon light, you cannot fail to feel the weight of what they were trying to say. Stay and watch the sun descend. The light goes amber first, deep and warm, turning the river below into hammered copper and making the gilded domes across the city blaze with impossible heat. Then the shift. Umberto Rus, and as violet spreads across the Moscow sky, the city below begins to answer with its own light. Street lamps glowing orange, one by one. The Kremlin's towers illuminated from below, golden against the darkening blue. Moscow at dusk is a city becoming a constellation. Sit on the steps of the observation platform. You have earned this. The whole city, lit up and breathing and vast, offered to you like a secret finely shared. Descend from Sparrow Hills as true night settles. Take the metro, and understand that the Moscow metro is not merely transport. It is one of the most extraordinary works of public architecture in the world. Find Komsomolskaya or Myokobskaya station, and descend into a world that defies every expectation you have ever had about what a subway station is allowed to be. Chandeliers, mosaics, marble columns, vaulted ceilings, painted with scenes from Soviet history and Russian mythology. Stalin called these palaces for the people, and whatever you think of the ideology behind them, you will not disagree with the ambition. Every Muscovite has ridden these stations their entire lives and no longer notices the chandeliers. You will notice them. You will look up and be entirely, helplessly astonished. Find a table along Tverskaya, Moscow's great central boulevard, wide enough for armies to march down, and Teyabi. Order something warming. If you are inclined, a measure of Russian vodka, served cold and neat, with black bread and a thin sliver of pickled herring. Not a party drink, the way it has been consumed here for centuries, with gravity, with a kind of respect. The bread and herring are not garnish. They are the point. Taste them together. Sit in the warmth and the noise. Listen to the city outside. Traffic and distant music and the voices of 11 million people living their enormous, continuing lives. You are part of it tonight. Briefly, incompletely, but genuinely. That is the gift of travel done with attention. Not the photographs, not the souvenirs, but these moments of belonging. Walk back to Red Square one last time. It is past 10 o'clock, perhaps 11. The square is almost empty. The cobblestones gleam under flood. St. Basil's domes burn impossibly bright against the black sky. The Kremlin walls are dark, red, and gold, and the square is almost entirely yours. Stand in the middle of it. Turn a slow circle. This morning you watched the sun rise over the Moskva River. You ate borscht in a room full of strangers. You ran your hand along a wall that knew Pushkin's name. You stood before icons painted 800 years ago and felt something wordless move through you. You climbed a hill and watched the city turn from stone to light. You rode trains through stations that are cathedrals. Moscow did not give you any of this icily. It made you walk for it, climb for it, pay attention. That is, its character, generous, but not without conditions. The condition is simply that you must be present, must be willing to be changed. Look at the Kremlin wall one last time. History is still being made inside those ancient bricks, as it has been for 600 years. Tonight, standing in the floodlit stillness, with the domes burning above you and cold air sharp in your lungs, you are part of that continuum. Briefly, incompletely, but genuinely part of it. Tomorrow you will be somewhere else, but tonight, Moscow, at last, at the very end of your 24 hours, is smiling. Where does the series go next? A city that whispers versus a city that roars. A place where the water reflects everything and reveals nothing. Think about it. The next chapter is closer than you think.